So Torchlight 3 just released its final major patch before release. So what we see now is what we will most likely have at launch outside of some minor adjustments, some community feedback, some hot fixes, but no more overhauls, no more large features. This is it. So before we get into this, I did want to remind everyone, this patch came with a wipe. So everything's gone, everyone's starting over, back to square one for anybody who had a character. Typical early access stuff. Hopefully this is the last wipe before launch. I believe it is. Either way, let's get into it. Now this new patch is all about relics and making them more impactful for your character. So before, relics were kind of a system that seemed out of place. It didn't really give any incentive to take the relic skills over your class abilities. They're often on a long cooldown, they had a weak payoff, they just didn't have that oomph that you looked for when you wanted to build around a particular skill. So fast forward to this patch, relics now serve as a subclass option that you choose when you first create your character. And these new relics will offer skill trees that function exactly like your class trees do today. You have 5 active and 5 passive skills to invest in and build around if you want to. You can completely avoid your relic tree and not even go anything into relic. You can ignore it and do just your class abilities. You can ignore your class abilities and go all into relic. You can have a hybrid. Really, the flexibility is there. It's up to you to decide. And as you level up, you're going to earn skill points, just like normal. However, these skill points can now be spent on unlocking different relic skills. Before, you had relic points and skill points. Relic points are no longer in the game, so skill points it is. Now this is a big change from previous iterations where your relic perks were unlocked as your relic leveled up. The only thing the player had control over was what passive bonuses they wanted. Things like increasing proc chances or boosting certain damage elements. In short, really it wasn't exciting to level up your relic. It was more or less as a task or something that just happened on the side that you really didn't care too much about. And these new relic skills, these new relic skills can be super powerful early on. Super powerful. For my new character, I built a Railmaster and I took the Flaming Destroyer as my relic. The Flaming Destroyer specializes in fire, AoE damage, evasion, and synergizes with great weapons. And I felt like this would work really well because I have a flamethrower train that catches everything on fire, which then in turn procs a bunch of different things. I have a fire weapon, and the fact that the Railmaster benefits from weapons with high base damage, aka great weapons. It really just formed a perfect bond, in my opinion, between those two. Now, that's not saying all the other relics wouldn't work. I've seen some people use Bane, the poison one, and just go absolutely nuts with things on the Railmaster tree and Bane. It's kind of all up to you. So once you lock in your relic choice, it's set. You cannot change it. It is final. And this is another major departure from the previous system where you could build up embers, they were currency that dropped, and then craft new relics to use. So you could constantly swap them out. I want to try Blood Drinker, now I want to try Bane, now Cold Heart. And that was nice, but the devs wanted to make relics more important. They wanted to make them as important a choice as picking your class. So during your class creation process, they give you ample time to look at all of the skills, find your synergies, and kind of plan out your hero during that process to avoid any surprises once you enter the game. So you can see the full relic trees, go through each thing, and figure out, I want to take this skill and this skill, avoid these skills, and really plan out what you want to do build-wise. So each relic has something that it specializes in. We know about Flaming Destroyer, but some of the other ones are Electrode, specializes in electric damage, shock bolts procs, movement, attack, and cast speed increases, mace synergy. Cold Heart specializes in ice damage, crowd control, extreme defense, things like tanky summons. You have rifle and pistol synergy there. You have Blood Drinker, which is all physical damage, HP regen, bleeds, sword synergy bopping off that one. And last but not least, we have Bane. Poison damage, summons, giant spiders, mini spiders, spiders that go out one time, minion bonuses, and staff synergy. So there seems to be something for kind of every style of build, a lot of flexibility there, but ultimately it really comes down to how you spec out those relics. And with relics being a core part of your character, I really feel like this change makes sense. You want players to use some forethought on what their plan is. Now, I do think they probably could have had a little more showmanship with it. Maybe your first quest leads you to a temple where you choose the relic and you get to test it out at max level to see if it's something that you want to stick with. Once you select it, the other relics are like lost to the void or something, and that could be a lore-based reason for the relic lock, because right now, during your character creation process, you just click on a relic, click continue, and then magically the other ones aren't there anymore. So there's just not a lot of involvement there. That's a very nitpicky thing. That's just me wanting like kind of a fleshed out story of why I can't have it. I'm a lore nut, that's just the way it is. But moving on. So along with the new skills, relics also have a new resource that's used to cast some of those skills, and that's called Relic Energy. And this functions similar to mana or rage in other games. It naturally regenerates over time, or you can speed up that regeneration as you do more damage. So what I found is that if you have a bunch of dots on anything, it regenerates super fast. So with my Flaming Destroyer relic, I took this Sword Smash skill. It's like a large AoE that leaves a dot on any enemies that are hit. This boosted the hell out of my relic energy regen, and it kept me cap most of early game. Basically, snap my fingers, use this thing a couple times, boom, I am at full relic energy, ready to go. And it kind of enables Sword Smash to be a spammable skill early on, which is just insane. And that's one of the big things I think that comes out of this relic update, is you have more powerful skills accessible earlier. So that's one thing. It felt much better. And overall, I mean, relic energy feels much smoother than the old cooldown system. I really like that I can influence how quickly a relic skill can be used by building around energy regen. Being able to use those more often give combat a little bit more oomph, because that's what Torchlight 3 was missing a lot of. It was missing a lot of oomph in combat, and this really makes our characters feel more like heroes and less like peasants. So for the most part, guys, I really like the direction they took this system. I feel like it helps give Torchlight more depth that the community was asking for. It helps with build diversity, and like I just mentioned, it helps with that oomph, that impact that combat needs to have in a game like this. Now, one thing I did want to touch on that you might have noticed were synergies. So these are passive nodes that improve basic attack damage with that particular weapon type and then boost your relic energy regeneration. Now, these are by no means necessary nodes, and don't feel like you're forced to use that weapon type to take full advantage of your relic. This has been a big deal with some players, and it's way overblown in my opinion. I mean, their argument is that we're forced to use a certain weapon type in order to specialize in a relic. They're completely avoiding all of the other perks that come with that relic and hyper focusing on, I want to play as a forged, but I want to use Bane. So now I'm locked into having a staff if I want to use that relic, and that's not the way the system works. These synergies only affect basic attacks. How often are you actually using your basic attack? Most people are taking their basic attack off of their action bars and they're putting another skill there. Like I said, way overblown. Though there is one thing I want them to add, and that's add rail hammers to great weapons, add bows to rifle and pistol, and add digitus to mace, because these are completely avoided in the new relics, which means if you want to be a rail master and use their signature weapon, the rail hammer, you will not have any available synergies. I believe a rail hammer, a two-handed massive hammer, probably falls into the category of a great weapon. That makes the most sense to me. The digitus and mace kind of go together, and then the bow obviously goes the rifle and pistol. So there is one that's also going to be removed, and that's the chest cannon for the forge, but the chest cannon doesn't have a basic attack, therefore I left it out. So that kind of wraps up that whole scenario, that whole narrative. Now, with all of that being said, there are a few things I think will be changed between now and release. The first one being skill points, because we were given a completely new tree to invest in, which is awesome. I love the relic tree, but we weren't given any new points to accommodate for this. So we're stuck with the same amount at max level, but more choices to dump these points into. At the end of the day, you're gonna have two choices. Drop some points into the relic tree, unlock some new relic skills, have a good time, but you'll end up having less skills total than you did before the patch. Or you can avoid the relic tree altogether and keep your previous build from last time, but that sucks because you aren't getting any of the cool new stuff and you won't get those passive bonuses that you unlocked naturally from your relic. So you're going to be missing something regardless. And because they added 10 new nodes to invest into, there will have to be a sacrifice. You're either going to have less maxed out skills and more skills that are going to be into 3 to 6 unlock range, or less overall skills totally, but they will be maxed out. It really is going to be interesting to see how players kind of handle this situation. Now, I do think this could be fixed by just giving us 2 points for every level from 50 to 60, or give us a quest chain at endgame that rewards us with skill points as we complete the steps. This would end up giving us an extra 10 points to invest in the new relic tree and really see what type of builds we can come up with. So moving into the second thing, and that is the leveling pace. They changed the leveling pace. They ended up increasing the amount of experience you needed to level up, starting at level 5. This was immediately noticeable because I found myself 3 or 4 levels behind the enemies I was fighting, which was new for me. And it was frustrating because I ended up having to revisit old zones to grind out a few levels and then go back to the new content and rinse, repeat all the way throughout Act 2 and into Act 3. Leveling before was balanced fairly well in my opinion. I really liked the pace that they had set then. I was almost always a level above or a level below the enemies. It kept things challenging. But with this version, I feel like I need to fully clear a zone to keep up with the curve. And I mean, that's certainly a way to extend the leveling process and improve exploration, but it doesn't necessarily feel great. I feel like players who want to fully explore the map should be rewarded. They should be rewarded with world boss encounters, secret areas, potential phase beast portals, and then the players who want to just jet from quest to quest, killing as they go, right, carving a path through all the enemies, they should be rewarded by reaching endgame faster. It's speed versus rewarded gear, and that's exactly the way it should be in my opinion. But I would love to hear what you guys think about that. So that wraps this one up, guys. This is the final patch before Torchlight 3 goes gold, before it is released worldwide to everyone. What do you guys think about the Relic overhaul? Is this the direction you wanted to see them take it, or were you hoping for something different? Do you think Torchlight 3 is ready for release? Do you think there's still some things that they need to work on, need to fix? Or are you someone who just doesn't care and you're just ready to see this thing hit the ground running? I want to hear from you guys, but as always, thank you so much for the support. It means more than you guys could ever imagine. Once again, this has been Vulkan, and I will talk to you guys next time.